Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to Monday. And mostly welcome back to Aquarius Rising Africa with me, Chantelle, your hostess with the mostest. For sure, we're going to have a rock solid, fire, awesome, fiery, spicy show tonight with Beverly. We're talking about the Prince and the PDF, right? The PDF file. And we pretty much talking about Prince Andrew and Epstein. So, and I'm sure a whole lot of other things will sneak into the equation as well. So, stay tuned. I'm right here, Emma Tones. Right here. Where is Chantelle? She's right here. Hello, everybody in the chat. So good to see you. I hope you've all had a beautiful weekend. Lisa D, Jojo Waken, all my beautiful wenches with wrenches. Lisa D, I missed you. You've been away for a while. And you, Jojo. Anyway, without any further ado, let's just go through the week schedule. So, guys, I cocked up the time with Gary Wayne. It is not on Wednesday, it is tonight. So, tonight, oh no, this is the, okay, this is the right one. Okay, tonight that we didn't put in here, Mornay didn't put in here, is Gary Wayne Book Club. Is not on Wednesday. I hope you guys all got the notification. So Gary Wayne Book Club is tonight at 7 p.m. Central Africa time. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. That was me. And I'm very happy that Gary actually emailed me yesterday and confirmed the time and the date. And I realized I'd actually made a erroneous entry into my diary. So I hope you guys can join us tonight after Beverly's show, and we will then chat about. Then we will have Gary talking about, and that's on Patreon. So it's for Patreons and members. Patreons, your the Zoom link is up on Patreon. Members, if you guys would like to join, there's still an opportunity to email Mornay, and Mornay can just put the email address in the chat there. If you want to join tonight, then he can send you the link and what have you. Okay, there we go. Solutions with Chanti tomorrow. And we are talking about the hive, entering the hive. So it's part 4. It's actually not part 3, it's part 4. Again, Jamie J tomorrow evening. And then we have spiritual forensics with Beverly again tomorrow on Solutions with Chanti. So please subscribe to that channel, guys. It's we rehumming the whole channel. And tomorrow night we are talking about the Menendez brothers. That's the big one. We're going to be chatting, we're shining our spiritual spotlights in spiritual forensics on the Menendez brothers. And I know that was a super, super well-known case back in the 80s or 90s, I think the 90s actually, when the two brothers unalived their parents. And yeah, super rich kids and what have you. And for a while ran around spending their money, which I think gave the general public the idea that they were super spoiled. And yeah, absolutely, they were no doubt growing up like that. But yeah, they unalived their parents one night, and the question is why and what was the motive? And of course, they were both put into jail for life. But recently, there was an opportunity for them to come out, but it seems that that has been denied. Anyway, we are going to be looking at that tomorrow in spiritual forensics on Solutions with Chanti. So please join Beverly and me there, and myself then, and we will be looking at those awesome things. And then, of course, Jesse on Wednesday. Not quite sure which shows we've chosen yet. Thursday, yes, please watch the calendar. We will be putting up some pre-recorded shows. And yes, there are some interviews I'm still arranging for the week. And then a drop-in with Chanti on Friday, Saturday Reham, and Sunday Loop, which is also replaying the older shows. Yes, so that is the schedule for the week. But before we even carry on with Beverly, I would just like to thank Spooky 2, who's the sponsor for the show. You all know Spooky 2, the amazing people with the Rife machines. Literally devices that you use at home, frequency devices, frequency medicine, amazing product indeed. We've been sponsoring, well, they've been sponsoring us, and we've been promoting Spooky 2 for a very long time now, maybe 3 years already. So if you want to look at your, in the description area, there's the link to Spooky 2, as well as the code, the coupon code that gives you a 5% discount on your product as well. But we're just going to play their little promo video first. So yeah, enjoy.
Hello, my name is Pablo Conde Pedroso, and I use Spooky 2. I use it every day, also every day. I use biofeedback to analyze the frequencies that my body's running out of or need to be adjusted. And then I do a protocol most of the time for detox. Detox because in my area, we have lead, we have mercury, and all the contaminants. So I try to run protocol of detox often. I help my friends, I help neighbors, I help all the people around me, co-workers, to alleviate malus, to alleviate most of the time when they come with headaches or when they come with backaches and tension, I run protocols with them and I alleviate them. I have worked with vaccinated people of COVID-19. I imprint in water most of the time. I use most of the features, distant healing, with samples of nails and of blood. Pretty much I kind of, in my limited, I had 2 generators. I need to have more generators. I need to have the scholar. I used to have a scholar. And Spooky makes sense to me. I am a chemist by profession. I have a master in chemistry and science, and I have a doctorate in metaphysics. So Spooky pretty much bring those together. Classical physics, when you have a resonator, and then you have applied frequency in wave at null, cancel, or increase in amplitude. So everything vibrates in the universe. That's none. Everything that exists vibrates. So if we tap into the frequency that object vibrates, it's logically that we can have an effect in matter. Matter is vibration. So a scalar energy is very interesting to me. So it's a pulses that pretty much can alienate, harmonize, or disharmonize, depending on what we want to kill or to heal. So metaphysically, I'm a Reiki master. So pretty much, Spooky is the blend of all my skills through life, and I just love it. Thank you, Spooky 2. Thank you for the opportunity. Looking forward to work with you more. Thanks.
Well, there you have it. Interesting, actually. I'm very happy you mentioned about the jab injury. Because interestingly enough, my other little one that I had, the AHA, one of my friends, close friend, had jab injury, and I gave her that one to use for a month. And she swears that sorted her out. There is no evidence that it did. She was looking after herself in other ways as well, for sure. We had her on quite a good support of eating and a whole lot of other spiritual stuff she was doing as well, sorting out. But she will swear by that Spooky 2 machine that it sorted out her jab injury. And interesting that gentleman mentioned it as well on the video. Anyway, check it out. And they've got Black Friday deals for the whole month that are offering you 10% discount on any of the Spooky products, the Spooky 2 Rife machines. Very amazing product. So if you haven't tried them yet, look into that, because there've been some amazing results with the frequency healing. Frequency medicine, yay. And without any further ado, the lady you've come for, Taram.
Oh,
Taram,
hello.
where's she?
Shut. I'm here.
I can't see you on my screen.
How can you
I
not
only
see me
see
on the
myself
screen?
on my screen. Oh, there I am.
Oh, there you are.
Oh,
There's
because I think
me.
yeah, I was probably on the different type of viewing. Hello, beautiful
Oh,
Beverly.
okay. Hello,
It's
how
so
are
good.
you this morning, this afternoon, this evening?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. Yeah, we're just getting ready for snow here. It's going to be down to -7 this week.
-7. I don't know how you people
-7.
survive. Seriously, I would have run away from that country. Any country that has snows like that, no ways. I just like it here. You know, we have pretty good weather. We really do have good weather. I mean, I have all 4 seasons in one day,
Yeah,
but
and I've
mostly,
got my big jumper here ready because here in the little tiny office is lovely and warm. It's easy to keep a small space. It's easy to keep a small space nice and cozy. But the moment you go out, you suddenly realize, get the hat on, get the gloves on, get the scarves on, another 5 or 6 layers, and then boots. I've recently acquired some boots. So I've got boots in case it really is that snowy, but we'll see. They're threatening -7. So I was, oh God, here we go. Talking about freeze bits off. Hmm.
well, enjoy the cold.
Yes, I don't enjoy the cold. It's horrible. I'd rather be somewhere nice and warm, but it's
Well,
not
you
going to
see,
be
I'm
like
pretty
that.
much like in
In summer,
strappy
wow,
gear. Anyway,
summer clothes. Look at you.
yes. So we've got a really interesting show planned for this evening. And wow, you've actually mentioned some things that I haven't heard before just in our behind the scenes communication.
Mm.
So, without any further ado, beautiful Beverly, why don't you tell us what the prince and the pedo actually means? Who's the prince and who's the pedo?
So obviously the PDF is obviously JE, which is the Epstein person, but obviously the former Duke of York, which I think he's called something else now, isn't he? He's got what's it, the double-barreled name, Mountbatten, whatever, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor.
Yeah.
What's very interesting is that I think when I started looking at him, I had to giggle. Seriously, I had to giggle because his energy was like popping all over the place. He's getting to a point where his energy is so frazzled that frequency is that he just wants out. He wants to change. He wants to distance himself from it, and he's trying really hard to get others and putting pressure on them to try to get others to distance themselves as well. But what is also very interesting is there's that funny energy coming in from one side, and that is that he kind of knew that he was under the cosh and that he was going to be not only under surveillance, but that he was going to be the person that was going to be taken out. And I think all of this evidence is going to become apparent over the next few months. And I think most of this is going to break as a story. I would say probably 28th, 29th of November. It will be before Christmas. And before Christmas, we're going to be seeing this whole story coming out about the Mountbatten Windsor Andrew person and his direct connection, not just with the PDF himself, but also specifically with the Ghislaine Maxwell person. So we've got a lot of that energy coming out where he's thinking, oh my goodness me, I don't want this. I've had enough of this. But I think that there's going to be a lot of pressure and a lot of aspects to find out exactly what did he know, how did he know it, and who was he in turn putting pressure on to get people to keep quiet. He did put pressure on Ghislaine Maxwell. He was chasing her and trying to get her to say that he'd never been to her house, and he'd never seen these people, and he was trying really hard to get Ghislaine to say that the big picture, we all know about the big picture that was taken in Ghislaine Maxwell's house in London, the Belgravia house, the one with the red doors and everything. And he was trying to pressurize her to say, oh no, this is a made up photo, this is a Photoshop photo, look at this and look at that, and this is not right. But she didn't at all. And I think what's going to happen is there's going to be this big, large fireball, and the fireball will constitute further downfall for him. It might even splatter out some of the energies out to the Fergie individuals, as well as a few others. So that's coming. The aspect also that we see is that there will be evidence in that big fireball that is going to come out, that is going to show categorically that he did stand with Virginia Giuffre next to the banisters on that passageway in front of the room. And it will show that part of that is where he says, oh, I don't remember, I had no recollection of anything. It was not doctored. That the photograph is a real photograph, and what is going to be quite damning actually is that he's going to have to retract his words and say, well, okay, it's been proven, because he will not, and I repeat, he will not be able to repudiate the emails and the information in this this huge bowl of fire. He's not going to be able to remove himself from that and say, I didn't write it. He's not going to be able to say, oh, that's a fake email address, because it's not. The email address is his email, and it's one that only he has access to. So, when we start looking at that with everything that had happened and everything where he was, what he was doing and how he was doing it, this is going to be another level of disastrous activity that's going to damage his reputation even further. I mean, if that's even possible, but that is where it's going. And it's going to show by this big ball of energy, it's going to show absolute proof that there was massages, that he was in the townhouse. It was not a faked photograph. And I think that that's a great energy, because it means that the Virginia energy, even though she's across on the other side, at some point that energy will alleviate everything that individuals thought about her, and it will free her soul and her spirit, because actually she was telling the truth. And this is where the link between emails from JE and emails from Andrew and all of the information around the Virginia Giuffre, all of that is coming out, I guarantee you, before Christmas this year.
When was this communication taken place between the two of them?
I think
the emails we're talking about, is this now more recently, or is this still during the day when they were being gross?
I think it was during the day that they were being gross, because I think that something, that energy I'm getting, it's going like this. And I think that you're going to find that it was quite a few years back. I think it was any time between 2010 and 2011 and 12, around there. So we're going to see that, where you've got the allegations. I mean, everybody rubbished them and said, oh, this is nonsense, and she's making it up, and Virginia Giuffre had it doctored and all that sort of silliness. But actually, because it was taken, if you remember years ago when this photo came out, they said that photo wasn't taken by a camera phone. It wasn't taken by, a proper big camera. It was taken by a disposable camera.
Yeah.
That's what everybody was saying at the time.
You know what's interesting? You say that Juliet Bryant, who's a survivor, Epstein survivor from South Africa as well.
Oh, yes.
She was taken to Epstein Island, And if any of you guys have watched my interviews with her, you will see there's photographs. She took photographs, and she talks about having found disposable cameras in the kitchen.
Oh, wow.
So that's interesting, exactly, because she had a whole lot of pictures that we showed. I mean, they're on the shows.
Oh,
That's
wow.
interesting. So they
Oh,
must have
so
had,
yeah, it's the disposable camera thing.
yeah,
There we go. Oh, wow. That's amazing. Because I think that's, all of that, and it's good to know that, what I was getting is now you saying you'd seen some of the photos that were taken through the disposable camera and that. So you've got all of those happening at the same time. And I think that you've got people like other people that are going to come out. So like Peter Mendelsohn, who's very famous over here. And, there's a whole bunch of other links as well. And I think that all of that is going to prove rather troublesome for these individuals, because there is a lot of high profile individuals that are going to come out in this big ball, this huge, fireball. And I'm calling it a fireball because when it's that big, it's not just one email or 5 emails or 10 little emails. This size means
no.
it's thousands and thousands of emails. That's what we're looking at with this big fireball.
What I'm interested, this obviously leads us to this whole Epstein files shenanigans that's happening here at the moment. Now, I would like to comment. I would just like to say this as well. And I'd like your comment on that and what you think.
Okay.
Firstly, I think Epstein is the face guy for so many other disgusting things. They're diverting us by, it's always Epstein, 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 Epstein. And I'm going, oh crap. Yes, was he a CIA, Mossad agent? Yes. But in my opinion, he was small fry, man. Small fry in the sense that his venue, he was kind of like master of the venue. We know that these guys don't own anything. The cabal owns everything. They just get given the cover life of it being his. So the way I see that, Epstein Island was his venue that he was looking after, and everyone was coming there, right? Known as Epstein Island, to do their disgusting satanic rituals, their sacrifices. And now we know Biden Island and Branson are right there as well. And I've heard that Branson is actually 10 million times worse than Epstein even. And of course, Biden. So we know that a lot of the trafficking would have then been happening in submarines. So a lot of the stuff, the Epstein flight logs, I mean, that flight log nonsense to me is also, there might have been some people, again, diversion, for sure, some people on the flight logs, but hey, how many people went there in submarines? And B, how many people had their own private jets and that went there in their own private planes that, of course, are not going to be logged on the Lolita Express or whatever was going on. And another thing Juliet said as well, and I'd not heard any of the Epstein victims speak about this before, was that she came to, and that she was in a laboratory lying on some medical bed, and there were guys in white lab coats doing stuff on her, experimenting of sorts. She has that very strong memory. And since that show came out, I'm not saying that's why it came out, but I'm just saying that's what I noticed. Suddenly there's a lot of people talking about what's happening underground at Epstein Island. Jesse also did a decode on Epstein Island and the symbolism and stuff. And there's a lot of very evil stuff that goes there. We're talking portals. We're talking underground laboratories. I mean, what they do there, I mean, my mind is just, I mean, there's so much that goes on. My opinion is that the face of Epstein, that face of his, okay, that's the Frankenstein or Franken whatever monster that Leo Zagami was talking about. He's just the face of the Franken monster, right? The Franken monster, or the monster, is not Epstein only. It's a whole collaboration of despicable beings that have done and still doing horrific things to humans. I would love to know your opinion on that. And secondly, when we're looking at the Epstein files, of course, that, there's so much talk about the Epstein files and why Trump has not
Exactly.
set them free. Set them free, listen to me. They probably should be set free or release them, right?
Yeah.
What are the Epstein files really? That's my, we think they are. What are the Epstein files? We know these guys video each other all the time as blackmail material, right? And then we heard about all these files that weren't going to be released because they were just too despicable for humans to see. My point is, well, that would be the blackmail material. So who's on those files? I mean, who's on them?
Yeah.
Or is it, as you say, the emails? Like,
well, the email address, because I had a look at it when I started working on it. I was working on it a couple of years ago, and I was trying to find out, and because through the people that I know and have worked with in the press for quite a long time, I said, have you any idea if this particular email for the Andrew person, was that his own personal one? Was it one that was attached to Buck Palace? Was there anything that he can turn around and say, oh, no, this is a fake one, it's a fake this, it's a whatever? And two separate people, two separate places had said that all the correspondence that was going backwards and forwards to both Ghislaine and Jeffrey had gone from a private email which had the Duke in it. It wasn't attached to the palace. It wasn't attached to his home. It wasn't attached anywhere. This was his own private one. So almost like us when we set up something and we call ourselves a silly name and we go and get ourselves a Yahoo or a Gmail or whatever type of email address. That was what it was. And the biggest aspect was that the Duke was how he was corresponding to everybody. And that belonged to him only. His private secretary, the individuals that look after him, public relations, nobody else had access to the Duke email. Nobody. So I don't see how he's going to, he's going to try and backtrack. He's going to try really hard to say, oh, no. But actually, that email is his email. It's his private email. It belongs to him. So I don't see him being able to say, oh, it's not me, whatever. No. And this fireball that's coming out, that email is going to be exposed. And I think it's about time. Seriously, I do. I think it's about time that all that comes out. The other thing I will comment on is the underground. Now, when I went and had a look at, there is a place, there is a very big sprawling house that Epstein had. With Maxwell was also there too. And this house was built in a very strange way. And it has got an underground laboratory. It has got a lot of underground areas. And one of the areas in Mexico, the Mexico house, has got a huge, beautiful big swimming pool. And when I dropped in through the area where the swimming pool was, I looked up. And as I looked up, there was this ginormous painting. I don't know who the artist was, but this big painting of Ghislaine Maxwell in nothing, and she was carrying like either a scepter or something in her hand, and she had that over her tummy, but everything else was fully in display. So all her wares, if you like, were in that picture. But from that area, you can go from the swimming pool, and as I was moving my energy out when I did the remote viewing of it, then you go out of the swimming pool, but then you can either go straight on towards the house, or you can turn and you can go down into like a cavernous area, which is exactly what the young lady that you spoke to said. There's a laboratory type of environment where they used to then collect ovum from these young girls, knock them out, put them under anesthetic, do a laparoscopy, take the ovums out, and whatever stage they were at, they would make sure that they were able to collect ovum. So they were collecting material samples for interbreeding and for the breeding program. So that is part of what I saw there. But also what is very interesting with that is that Maxwell had said categorically to Andrew that she was not going to bail him out. She was not going to turn around and say, no, Andrew never had anything to do with Virginia. They never saw each other. She categorically said, I'm not going to do that. So, he was literally on a hiding to nowhere, because she had already said, both verbally and in writing, to the Duke email address. So I'm kind of thinking that all of that energy, all of those emails, I think all of those emails, somehow somebody has been able to either to get access to the Duke email address, which is his private address, or some of those emails ended up being in someone's hands, which is now going to come out basically across all of the public. It's going to become common knowledge before the end of this year.
I want to go back to what you were saying earlier on, and I want to just make sure I understand it correctly. You spoke about in the energy and in the picture that we saw a while back, of like holes and someone coming for him, and he was meant to be taken out.
Yeah, that's correct.
Are you saying unalived, as in taken out, as in unalived?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, because there was that energy at one point when I had a look at him. There was that energy where it was expanding, but then it stopped. And I thought, why is it stopping? And that was because the Epstein energy, when you look at him, when I look at him and other energy workers, when we look at him as an energy being, when he was still with us on this plane, his energy was extremely dark, but also that he was very clever, and he realized very easily and very quickly that both the Fergie energy and the Andrew energy would not shut up, firstly, and that they were a liability, and that if there was anything that was going to happen that caused significant issues for the Epstein individual down the road, that those two people would have to be unalived. That's what I mean by taken out.
Yeah. So both of them.
Yeah, both of them. Fergie. Yes. And Fergie knew too much as well. Yeah.
I'm sure she did. I mean, if we just go back a few years, and I really can't remember offhand exactly what happened, but she was involved in some shady deals as well.
Yeah.
That she got caught up badly for. But I find it interesting because, so you saying that J.E. pretty much put out a contract on those two.
Yes, he did. That's what I saw, and I was quite surprised. I thought, how come didn't they wake up on the other side? Well, they haven't, because I think whichever sniper it was that the JE person paid and financed the whole project, if you like, to take them both out. I think there was two things that happened. One was the unaliving was never in the former prince's energy field, because that was true. Also, unaliving was never in Fergie's energy value, not at all. And that was how that was kind of stopped. But he did go ahead, and we've also know that they continued both what's his name, J.E., Andrew, and the redhead, we'll call them that. They all continued to talk to each other, have contact with each other after they had gone publicly and said, no, we're not having anything to do with him. We've distanced ourselves from JE. We're not having anything to do with that. It's nothing to do with us anymore. Nothing to see here. We know for a fact that even after 2010, in 2011, they were both still having a lot to do with the Epstein character. So that was never going to happen. And I think as much as JE tried to get them to be unalived, that all of that was thwarted because he was going against what was already in their soul contract and what was in their soul plan. They were never meant to be unalived that way, and they were never meant to be removed from walking 3D, because these two people, as well as on the backside, the Epstein character and the Giuffre person, she'd already done her duty. She was already a light warrior. She was already using her life force to bring light in, to show everything. And it will come about that everything that she said was true. So she's already done that bit. So we've got then the Andrew person, his soul contract. And then as an aside, we've got the Fergie soul contract, totally different. So there's a lot of accusations. There's a lot of disgrace. There's a lot of alleged aspects that are going to come up thick and fast, and it's going to be unbelievably horrendous for the rest of this year. And that will impact, by association, blood of my blood, which means that energy of ancestral guilt, ancestral ties, ancestral lessons, both Andrew and Fergie, that goes down to who? Goes down to their children and their children's children. So we've got the ancestral, almost like a curse in a way, the ancestral curses, all of that is going to filter down into their children. And what I would like to say is the two children, Beatrice and Eugenie, those two children are the ones that are going to be facing a lot of issues going forward, particularly into next year, 2026, because all of that long time association, all of what was happening, and the fact that they keep backpedaling and trying to say, no, we didn't do this, we didn't do that. The prominent level of evidence is going to be the type of evidence that cannot be repudiated or put forward, say, no, that isn't what it is. No, not going to happen. So when that all comes out, unfortunately, two innocent children from the union of Andrew and Fergie, they are also going to be reeling from the effect of that energy, which is sad.
But listen, isn't that happening already? Because I'm kind of seeing things, and I'm certain, I don't really follow any of these people, and I never really have. But of course, you read up and hear every now and again or what have you. But at the moment, I'm kind of like seeing that both Andrew's kids are getting ready on some level, I think, to, I don't know, take a fall.
I think they could be, because they seem to have gone very quiet. I mean, over here in the UK, I don't seem to see anything specific that's coming out in anywhere, really. There doesn't seem to be much that's being said. So I think that, I know that their mum, Sarah Ferguson, is kept away. And also, I think our current king is also keeping them away, keeping all of them at bay. They've pushed them to the side. So they're not really saying anything. I think everybody is waiting for this big fireball to drop. And, I know that Sarah Ferguson is, apart from being a person that likes to spend other people's money, she is waiting to see what is going to happen. Because I think she knows that there is going to be a lot of trouble, trauma, and tribulations for her, because she's going to have to say a few things, and she's going to have to come out and say, well, because we must remember it was down as that energy of, oh, Epstein, she's my supreme friend, she's my best friend, she's whatever. why would he use those words about Fergie? She's going to have to say a few things about that. She is going to have to. And she is going to be in the line of fire. There are going to be lots and lots of information that's going to come out from the fireball, which is all the documents, all the Duke emails, all of those things. And that scandal is going to further impact not just her image, her children's image, but actually it's also going to impact the whole of the royal family. So that means the current king and the king in waiting are going to have to work out, they're going to have to second guess what's going to come out in the emails, because they don't know. Actually, they've got no idea what's in the fireball of emails and evidence. They're going to have to work out what are we as the royal family, what are we going to do about these two people and their progeny, the two girls, Beatrice and Eugenie, because they're going to have to move pretty quickly, because Sarah's going to beetle off to either Portugal or Spain or wherever she decides to settle. She's not going to remain in the UK. So that's one thing that's happening. So she'll be far enough away from it because she won't want to be impacted by what people think of her here. And she's not exactly well liked. So that's one thing that will happen. And she is staying away. She's, as a former Duchess of York, she has stayed away. She's not prepared to continue. And yeah, everybody has been stripped of their titles. So it is going to be a really big turn of energy where they are going to be named, shamed, everything is going to come out. And I have a feeling that one or two of the big, either newspapers or others, are going to be able to find out a lot of information somehow, and even possibly get copies of these Duke emails. And if they do, that is just going to, it's going to be mind-blowing for the public, but also the level of leaked evidence is going to be so substantial that none of them are going to be able to turn around and say no. And the concern there is, would Eugenie and Beatrice, they may decide to distance themselves. They might even have to say, well, I give up my title, or I give up something, because the scandal is going to be so big that what we've seen up until today is nothing compared to what's coming. That's why it's coming as this huge big energy fireball, because that is going to make a lot of things right. And people that were called liars, people that were called, oh, that's a fake document, or that's fake this, or whatever, that's just going to be, that's going to be kicked to the curb.
Yeah. I'm like sitting here listening to you, and absolutely, again, I believe that's what's going to happen, because I do believe Andrew's always been the scapegoat, and I'm certainly not saying that he's an innocent victim in this. I think he's been as dodgy and as dirty as the rest of them. But I find it interesting, because I think every survivor that's had anything to do with the royal family knows that they are, yes, I know, exactly, Beverli, knows that they are far from royal. They're actually so gross. So it's kind of like, again, I find, the betrayal, but I guess, they are brought up knowing that at any point in time, this can happen. They don't grow up with love and got your back kind of thing. It's each man for itself in the system, from what I can gather. You kind of like, you're designed to play one up against the other, and siblings one up against the other. So I think it was probably he was always destined for this, to take the fall at this time. He was definitely the scapegoat. But I'm interested, though, when we look at, let's talk about sweet, innocent William, for example. There's no doubt in my mind that William is far from sweet and innocent. I think behind that smile of his gentle demeanor, there is a man of steel that has no problem to wield that sword at any point in time. That's what I think. I think he's been trained to be that kind of king. So he'll slice and dice where he has to. And I'm talking more metaphorically now,
Yeah.
I think he's not that brave. He won't go out and fight the wars himself. He will send 10 billion other people before he goes.
Yeah.
That's my point. And I just see, I don't know, he looks like a nice guy, but I think behind that nice guy demeanor, there's a very different character lurking about in that body. What's your take? What's your take?
I agree. Yeah, I agree with you there. I think the William energy is quite interesting because he has the two sides. He has the William energy with his mother's lovely energy, and then he has the energy from his father's side, and they always seem to be colliding and battling and pushing. But the one thing at the top area, the one thing that does come out is that he will do what is necessary to make sure that the royal family, i.e. his progeny, his children, and his bloodlines continue. He will do that. And
protect it.
Absolutely. And my prediction for that will be that he will remove and get rid of and change titles and sideline whoever he has to be in the right place at the right time. He is not worried about doing that because I think when I looked at him last time, he's just fed up. That energy is like, oh God, what are they doing now? Can they not just shut up? Can they not just tell the truth? He's had enough. And he's got to that point where he's up to here. He's had enough of them. So that's not a good space to be in. And if he then takes that knee-jerk action to say, you know what, I can't do this anymore with this lot. They have no respect for the royal family. They have no respect for what they were. I'm just going to change the whole way that things are. And I think that he's got the guts and the gumption and the courage. Because let's face it, courage is contagious. And his courage will be contagious. And he will stand up and say, no, I'm not having this anymore. This is what we're doing. So as much as, his father is not well, he's poorly, he's got that energy of transitioning, William will be the one. He will be the one to make the difference. And he will just sweep all the decks clean and say, right, this is who we're having in the royal family. This is where we're going. These other ones, to the side you go. I'm not putting up with this anymore. He's got to the point now where he's absolutely, as we say in SA, gatful. He's fed up. He's had enough. And that's where that energy is going. And I'm just so fantastically happy because if he gets to see the big fireball of all these emails and evidence and everything else, he's going to say, no, no more. I'm not doing it anymore. These have got to go. And he will remove whatever he has to remove. He will change whatever he has to change to protect the royals that are there at the moment.
No matter what's right and no matter what's wrong, he will do what he has to do to protect the crown, basically.
He will. Yeah.
Interesting. What I wanted to ask you, it slipped my mind.
It's easy to have things slip your mind with all this nonsense going on because my goodness me, they've got lots going on. They really do have lots.
I definitely should have written that down. But it was all to do with this William thing. Oh, okay. Where I wanted to go with this, talking about who's in the royal family and who's not. Yeah. You sent me a video the other day. Or of some woman doing something on the royal family, a reading. I think it was you.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And in there, they spoke about, now this is, I found super interesting, and I would love to hear what you say about this. Let's go to Harry and Meghan now, because what this woman is saying is that Harry didn't let his title go willingly, whatever that is called, absconded, right? He didn't abscond willingly. No, he didn't abscond, but he was fired for whatever reasons. and, you know, whatever was going on with him and Meghan. Now, what they're saying is William, or the palace, William, is demanding that the babies, Harry's babies, submit a DNA test.
Oh, yeah.
To find out if the babies, came from her body,
Yes.
and are of both parents. Now, I find this fascinating because it is such a common thing that a lot of these celebs, etc., often because of their inversions and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Don't have children. And it's like Beyonce, I mean, it's well known. She will sit and with the one Australian interview she went on, and she sat down, her whole baby bump caved in, right? I mean, there's no question around that. So they have surrogates, okay, for whatever reason. Some of them, maybe they just don't want to give birth. It doesn't mean that if a woman has a surrogate, she's a male. Let's also, people have gone off the deep end of this nonsense as well. It doesn't mean that she doesn't want to give, that she doesn't have a surrogate. I mean, if she has a surrogate, it's not her child, or that she's a man or something. Some women just don't want to give birth. So what I find interesting there is that, what is your take on that? Because what they're basically implying with that is that Meghan never gave birth to the children, because, as this woman is saying, is that the palace is not going to come up against them for lies and scandals and Oprah interviews and stuff like that. When the time comes, they merely just say, okay, submit the DNA certificates for both your children. Where were they born? Who gave birth to them? And make sure that they come out of both your bodies. So obviously there's a question around that's already out there. But then I have a thing about Kate, because there's a lot of questions about Kate having given birth naturally as well. I mean, just from my eyes, and again, this is not, I get that, I mean, anything is possible in the world. But let's look at it. If you as a woman, Beverli, you're a woman, you've given birth to more than one baby.
Oh, yes.
I've given birth to one baby.
Yep.
Any woman out there who's given birth to a baby, I don't care how slim you are, I don't care, I'm sorry, your body changes when you have a baby. There's something about the way your hips reshape themselves. And it doesn't mean you get fat and overweight and obese. No, I'm not suggesting that. There are a lot of women who keep their figures well after having had several children. My mother was one of them. If you have, so my point is, it doesn't mean that you, as I said, have to pick up weight or whatever, but your body somehow changes when you have a child. Your hips get rounder, your breasts get fuller. I don't know, something changes. If you look at Kate, in my opinion, Kate has not given birth. And I'm not saying Kate's a man. A lot of people are saying that. You all love saying everyone's a man. That's not what I'm saying. I am saying it's possible, in my opinion, that Kate would have had a surrogate as well. So if I was Harry, I would definitely be demanding DNA tests from William as well for his children. I mean, they all look similar like the royals, right? But hey, that means nothing. You can interchange DNA nowadays like anything. I don't know. What's your take on that?
I think that a lot of the background with both Meghan and the Kate energy, they have very similar energies. They're not similar in age, obviously, but they have that similar energies. And I do think that Meghan particularly will not be able to provide the evidence that is needed by the palace to secure the line of succession and the way that it's been positioned, if you like. And I don't think that Harry's going to be able to argue with it either, because it's just not there. I think that has become like an open secret. I mean, I didn't see the episode with her baby bump collapsing, and I could just laugh at that because baby bumps don't collapse.
That was Beyonce. But there were also a few moments of pictures I saw with Meghan walking around, and somehow that baby bump landed up being very low, and suddenly, and we have to know there's prosthetics available for each and everything.
Yeah.
And I think we'd be surprised how many people didn't give birth naturally. I mean, I don't have an issue with it. I don't agree with having a surrogate purely for the child's point of view. I think it's an extremely selfish thing to do unless you really have an issue giving birth yourself. And then, of course, in my opinion, the intention with that is different. You know, if it's your sister, your cousin, or yes, then the intention, but not because you don't want to stretch your vajayjay or because you just don't want stretch marks. Yes, that's what we're hearing all the time.
That's it.
So I mean,
I think that I think it is going to come out. The truth will surface with Harry and Meghan, and I think part of this big fireball is going to be a lot of the emails around where they're at, what they're doing. But I think what is more interesting is when I tuned into them this morning, the Harry and the Meghan energy, there is this rift here that's coming where the energy is starting to pull away. I think from what I saw with that energy, I think the Harry and Meghan marriage is in dire straits. I think very soon that she might announce that, you know what, we're going to live separate lives for a little bit. Let's see what happens. Because she's got this big Netflix thing happening in December. She's focused on that. And she's really trying to do everything she can to get herself back up there. But I think that energy now, the way that it's pulling apart, that marriage is already starting to move to the rocks. And I think in the next 2 years, we're going to see how they're going to move away from each other because of whatever is going in that path, that cycle that started. It's already started, and it's like a big snowball. When it starts small at the top, but it rolls down the hill. By the time it gets to the bottom, it's a ruddy, great, big, fat boulder snowball, and that's what's coming.
I definitely think it's coming, but I think they should stop with their double standards. All the women in the royal families who have had baby bumps and who have had surrogates should own up, because I think there's going to be a lot more than just Meghan. And I think Kate is one. If you look at Kate's body, she's got a very boyish figure, very boyish. And I'm not saying she's a man, guys, again, but there are women who have boyish figures, but when you give birth, your body changes. Something changes. You can see when a woman's given birth. I mean, men, I know, a woman can walk past them and they will know if she's had a child or not, just by the way she walks and the shape of her body. Doesn't matter again. And I repeat that. I say a woman's body changes once you give birth.
It does, yes.
Nothing can take me away from that. In my opinion, from what I see, Kate has not given birth. No, she's not given birth either. I don't think Meghan's given birth. No, I don't believe that. But out of the two, I would say it's more likely that Meghan gave birth, actually. If you have to say out of the two, which one would be more likely to do a natural birth, I'd probably say Meghan. But I think, I don't know, Kate is so stressed. She reminds me of a overbred racehorse.
That sounds right. But the Meghan energy, when I had a look at the pelvis area, and I looked where her belly button is, and I looked around her belly button, and I looked at the whole toroidal field of the energy. What happens when the womb, which is a portal, when that soul is pulled down and placed into the portal, and that portal then grows for those 40 weeks with that child, that does leave an energy signature. And that energy signature, I didn't see it. I think she did fall pregnant at some point, because there is there is residue of energy, but I think whatever was in there didn't grow to the 40 weeks term, because it would have been different. So whatever was there, the changes are such that maybe medically she wasn't able to carry, or maybe medically she had, she was processing a fetus, but she wasn't able to carry the fetus to term. Maybe that's the reason for it. But I don't know in legislation if that is allowed for somebody to be carrying a royal heir or a royal progeny, and whether they're allowed to not carry and then have a surrogate carry for them because of health reasons. I don't know. But all of that, it tends to show that energy signature around the belly button and below the belly button, that does not show that there is a 40-week term pregnancy there. So we'll have to see what comes out. But maybe it'd be better for the two of them to be able to say, well, sorry, everybody, but Megan was poorly. She was very ill. She wasn't able to carry. And that was a decision we as a couple made.
Yeah. I mean,
just come out and tell the truth.
The world can accept that. We're an empathetic bunch of humans.
Yeah.
And I think every woman who's battled to fall pregnant or had a miscarriage or lost a child can absolutely identify with yearning to have a child, and you can't have one. And if an opportunity like that comes your way, I mean, then of course you're going to say, well, this is my medical history. You're a public figure. You've married a prince. Once you make that decision in your life, you become public property. You don't get to have a private life anymore. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. Yeah. And I understand that everyone wants privacy. I don't know how those people do it. Because if I have to have people coming up to me in the shop, or I would like scream and go running out the door, because I just couldn't deal with it. But I'm just saying, like, you made a decision. You chose to marry the prince. You chose to be public property, which means that if that is happening, then allow the public to walk your journey with you. Don't lie and say, well, I'm pregnant and wear baby bumps, because already people are looking at her already knowing there's something about her that's just not true. It's a lie. This woman there's something not right with her. So they're accusing her of all sorts of things, but no one really knows what's going on. They just hate her, but no one really knows why. And perhaps she's just trying to protect her fragile heart. But at the end of the day, we also know that these people that are married to these high up personalities, I mean, it's a tough life out there. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there. And I don't know. I just think that you can't be in that position and lie to the world. And obviously you have a certain right to privacy. But if you are pregnant, carrying the prince's son, and you are carrying a baby bump instead, no, then you say we're having a surrogate. And that's the journey.
And that's what I can't understand, why, if that is the case, why they didn't just come out and say, but maybe there's some legislation or royal decree or something somewhere that says, I don't know,
she broke the royal decree a long time ago. She thought she was going to be Princess Diana #2, Princess Meghan, Queen of Hearts. She really did. I feel sorry for the girl. I really do. I feel so. Everyone says the most horrible things about it. I just feel empathy for her. I don't know why. And for Harry too. I think they've really.
But she's, the Meghan energy, when I looked at that, the Meghan energy is the same soul as Anne Boleyn in the past. So,
oh, wow.
And we know what all happened in that historically. So when you look at those energies, you can see how, she would be, if she is the Anne Boleyn reincarnation of that soul energy. Obviously, there's going to be a whole bunch of nonsense around her, because look how that all ended. So we've got that issue, which is imprinted on her soul too, but also where she was desperate for acceptance, desperate for her to be the new, Princess Diana, which was never going to happen. And this is why she went down the route she did. I'm just sad for Harry that he didn't put his foot down and say, no, we're not doing it that way. We're doing it this way because this is what the royal decree says. And if we do it that way and we get found out, then we're out, we're cut off. And I think that is probably where that's going to go. Because when they cannot prove, because up until right now, to this day, neither of them have been able to prove categorically that she gave birth to those babies in that hospital with those individuals that were witnesses. Nothing has come forward to that. And I don't think that they would be able to do that. So that means that they do stand to lose a lot. They do stand to lose titles. They stand to lose where they are in the position of succession. And if that comes out that they can't prove it, not that they won't prove it, but that they can't, different energy, they can't prove it, a whole chain of events starts for both of them and their children.
I'd be so happy if I'd be losing those titles. It'd make me very happy.
Well, at least they can be real people. They'll be free. Yeah, they can be real people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be partying up a storm. I'd be wild in London.
Yeah, well, this is it. So I think when you look at the Harry, the Meghan, the Andrew, the Fergie, Beatrice, and Eugenie, all of those, and then we add into the mix Ghislaine Maxwell, we add in Epstein, and we add in all these other people, you can see why I'm saying that ball of fire, this fireball is this big, because all of those energies are in the same ball of energy. It's a big one.
It's a big one indeed.
Yeah, and it's not going to be Charles that deals with this big fireball, because by that time he'll be too poorly. He's going to be too poorly to deal with all of that. And he will give that responsibility to the king in waiting. And he's the one that's going to have to deal with that.
Well, the king in waiting, I'm sorry, isn't innocent himself either. So it's kind of like, the thieves trying to have honor amongst each other there about who's the most honorable thief.
Well, this is it. So we're going to, either way, hopefully this year and into next year, we are going to see unbelievable evidence and truths coming out that none of them in that fireball will be able to say, oh, no. Nope. They're not going to be able to do that. They're going to have to stand up, be counted, stand up and put up, and shut up and put up, because the evidence is going to be so defined. They're not going to be able to say, oh, no, that didn't happen. They're not going to be able to wiggle their way out of it.
Well, I don't think anyone should be allowed to wiggle their way out of anything anymore if I had my way, because I think it's just such a time now that the truth is revealing itself, bit by bit, every day, little bit by little bit, more and more truth surfaces. And I'm extremely grateful for that. And I'm extremely grateful for you, Beverli, revealing the truth.
Thank you.
And I'm extremely grateful to all our amazing viewers that are on this journey with us, helping us figure out these things and dig into places where angels fear to tread, literally. But hey, we go there.
Yeah, we've got to go there. I think also with them, pardon me, with them going off with Meghan and Harry deciding to go to Australia again. So with that whole plan of them to, chuff off to Australia. Now, if we remember, I don't know how well you know this, but we had then Charles and Diana also ran to Australia to try to put their marriage together. And remember, I'd said not even 5 minutes ago that the Meghan debacle with the marriage is also in big danger. They're doing exactly the same. They're going to go across the world and disappear to Australia and try to put their marriage back together. So when you see the cycles, and I just look at it and I think, right, there's Diana and Charles.
Australia? Why Australia? I mean, what's in Australia? I mean, I mean, obviously it's part of the Commonwealth, right? Australia. Just interesting why Australia. I mean, hey, I'm sorry. Nowadays, I always look for the
What's the
dodgy
bottom
ones.
line? Follow the money.
Yeah.
So follow the money, follow the energy. But the energy there has a very different energy. It has a native Aboriginal energy, which fosters love, but it also fosters truth. So by going down to Australia and going there and trying to put their marriage back together, we're going to see all sorts of, silly lovey-dovey things where they're holding hands and they're going out together and, this mushy nonsense. When actually we know what happened with Charles and Diana. They're repeating the same cycle. They were trying to put that marriage back together, but then we always had the third person that was in the marriage, which was Camilla. And it was never going to be what they wanted it to be. So it failed. And we've got the same situation. Meghan and Harry, off to Australia they go, try and utilize that energy, feel the love from everybody in Australia, try to put their marriage back together again, and that is not going to work.
Well, we've got to start by taking one brick out at a time, and then the next thing, the whole wall is going to collapse, and then we see behind the smoke and mirrors and what's been happening behind the palace walls.
I can't wait to see what comes out, because those emails, and for it to come up as like this huge fireball, you think to yourself, oh my agony aunt, what is in there? So it is something that is so damning. And it's not just one email. If it was one email, you could turn around and say, one email, maybe not. This is not. This is thousands and thousands and thousands. Not 1,000, not 2,000, not 5,000, not 10,000. This is way more than 10,000, which means that just by sheer weight of information, there is no ways that individuals that are mentioned and cited in these documents that they're going to be able to turn around and say, oh, no, that didn't happen, because it's not one email, it's thousands of them.
Well, and that's obviously going to be naming a lot of names, and a lot of people are going to be obviously caught up in this web. Wow. Yeah. Well, guys, we certainly are living in exciting times, that's for sure. I'm just happy to be here. And thank you to everyone else for doing life with us at this stage as well. Not an easy time to be on the planet, but boy, it's what an amazing time to be alive. I will always maintain that.
No, anyway. We're in history in the making at the moment. And the way that it's going and the way that the energy is, and unfortunately, the one thing that you can never escape is vibration, frequency, and energy. If that energy is out there, that's it, mate. You've had it. That's it. You're under the cosh. It's gonna happen.
Exactly. You are energy. You are the energy you put out there. And if you don't like it, then change it. You must change your energy if you don't like it.
It's a good accent. Well done. Sweaty.
I like it that way. Okay, Beverli, so fun to be hanging out with you. And guys, don't forget tomorrow night on Solutions with Chanti, the baby sister channel to Aquarius Rising Africa.
Yep.
We are doing spiritual forensics. It's a new series Beverli and I are doing. And we are going to be looking at the Menendez brothers tomorrow, where the whole big schmeely wheelie I gave you earlier on. And we're going to be shining our spiritual eyes on the Menendez brothers case tomorrow. So please catch us on Solutions with Chanti, Solutions. And if one of my mods can just put the link up there, whatever, please. Mods, please.
It's good, because I'm going to do 3 or maybe 4 images of the energy, because I'm looking at both of the brothers separately, and I'm also going to look at the parents, but I'm also going to might be looking at the Menendez uncle, because he's had a lot to say, and especially he's been very vocal about the fact that the uncle has said, I don't want those brothers to come out. Don't let them out. Keep them where they are. Because he is claiming that the boys were never molested. Well, unfortunately, their aura and their energy body does not say that. It says they were molested. So I'm going to have a look at, I'm going to probably try to do 4 different images, and then you can see, what that looks like. So it's
I look forward to that. Yeah,
it's going to be a good one.
Good. Join us for the Menendez Brothers on Solutions with Chanti tomorrow. And then, guys, as I said to you earlier on, I've got Gary Wayne on book club with Patreons and members tonight. It's not Wednesday, it's tonight. It's happening in 40 minutes time.
Oh, wow.
So if there's any Patreons or members that haven't got the message yet, I definitely hope you got it now, please. So if there's any one of the members who would like to join on Zoom, guys, just send Mornay an email and he will make sure you get the link. You need to give him your handle and all of that stuff. Join us for Gary Wayne Book Club, Genesis 6 Part 2. Wow. So looking really, really, really forward to that one. Bev, always such a pleasure hanging out with you. And what do you have to say in closing, and where can everybody find you? All these lovely things.
Well, you can find me at my website to book sessions or to book for energy readings. It's www.awakeningacademy.co.uk. And in closing, I want to say, open your eyes, everybody. We're starting to have these ascension symptoms. We're starting to move up. We've got 3-eye atlas, which is what it means, 3-eye, third eye atlas. But all of those energies coming down to help us grab that energy. Allow yourself to start awakening and start questioning, see what's out there, because we are part of history in the making.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's an incredible time to be alive, as I was saying. And there we go. Solutions with Chanti. Thank you, D. Go join. Like, share, subscribe. Keep the channel relevant. Thank you. And yeah, so if you're looking at someone who's asking for Mornay's email, please just check on all the social media and check on all the platforms. The information is out there with all the details. Yay, Christine! There's one of my besties, all the way from Namibia. Hello, Chrissy. Time for the world to wake up to the royals all over the planet. It's so flippin' true. It is
brilliant.
So, you see, I put you up, Christine. You owe me a desert trip for that.
Wow. Yeah,
yes.
Desert, here we come. Why not?
Awesome. Well, that's Namibia. These girls beautiful. Can 4x4. You ever see this girl 4x4 in that desert?
Must be amazing.
They 4x4 better than the South African guys that go there on holiday.
Wow.
Go in the desert, yeah, and they know exactly where they're going. I'm like, how do you know where you're going? I don't know. They just know. Turn right. Wow. There's no roads. They just drive, and then then it's all signed. Madness. I just sit and I enjoy the ride.
Sounds like a lot of fun. Enjoy.
That's awesome. Yeah, absolutely awesome. Okay, everybody, I'm going to see you for Gary Wayne. Please don't forget, it's tonight, not Wednesday.
Oh, Lord.
And we will see you with Beverli Wayne tomorrow. Beverli Wayne.
That's all right. You've given me a new surname. What you like? Oh, my God.
Well, I think Beverli Wayne might be a nice name. But anyway. Beverli Rhodes.
No, I think actually I prefer either Beverli Rhodes or Beverli Tucker Rhodes or Beverli Rhodes Tucker or something like that. I just want something come from left field, totally different name. Would be good fun. Oh,
Lord. Okay, now someone's saying, give yourself a session with Bev. Yes, if you do, absolutely. I would highly recommend the session with Bev. So all the details are there. And I know that Beverli offers specials for the South African viewers because our rand is so incredibly potent.
Not.
Leave our rand alone. Leave our rand alone. We like our rand.
Get it to come up a bit because it needs it. That's for sure.
Well, it helps for you guys to come and visit us here.
It is a good
Yeah,
place to
guys.
visit because you get more all sorts of rands for pounds if you're taking pounds
Yeah.
down to South Africa. And yeah, South
Oh, but
Africa
don't you
needs
dare take rands to the UK or America or anywhere else. I mean, like in 2 days you broke.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. It's true. Oh my goodness. Well, good luck with your shows later, and I look forward to seeing
Yeah.
everybody tomorrow. The Mendes ones is going to be
Yeah.
quite a ride, that's for sure.
Enjoy us. I mean, enjoy and join us. Okay, everybody. God bless you all. Take good care. Be sweet. Be honey. Be kind. Be cool. Be yogi. Mm.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
End the stream. End the stream.